Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Experts, Streamlining IoT Device Lifecycle Management. Topics that we're going to be exploring are the innovations like Device Update for IoT Hub and IoT Plug and Play, which are both really great at reducing complexity of connecting and updating and securing IoT devices. We will explore how you can use these tools to simplify your IoT journey. And in the first part of this session, Vidi will go over how you can use Device Update for IoT Hub, which we just announced here at Ignite, to publish, distribute, and manage your over-the-air updates. Next, Sandeep, he's going to be covering how you can build end-to-end IoT solutions without writing any new code on the cloud or the device with IoT Plug and Play. And then in the rest of the session, you'll be able to do live Q&A with the speakers, and we're excited to jump in and answer your questions for you. And then in the whole session, feel free to ask all of your questions in chat. We have our full, product team members, including myself, who will be in chat, happy to answer your questions there. So let's go ahead. We got a jam-packed session, and we want to make sure there's plenty of time for Q&A. So we'll go ahead and hand it over to Vidi to cover the device update for IoT Hub.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to spend the next few minutes giving you a short overview of device update for Azure IoT Hub, a new service that was just announced in public preview. Due to its ubiquitous nature, IoT has applications across various industries. However, as adoption for IoT grows, it brings various device management and security challenges along with it. We've seen almost 300% increase in IoT cyber attacks annually, and in fact, 25% of all cyber attacks that are carried out on IoT devices. This is also reflected in the feedback that we've heard from customers like you. Over 97% of customers are concerned about IoT security, with updating being their top priority. With this, it is very clear that to realize the full benefits of IoT's digital transformation, we need an ability to operate, maintain, and update IoT devices at scale. So to address these key customer pain points, we are expanding the management capabilities that are provided to you with the Azure IoT platform by introducing the new device update for IoT Hub. Device Update for IoT Hub is an end-to-end platform for IoT device builders as well as solution operators who want their customers to get the most value from their Azure IoT-enabled products. The platform simplifies and accelerates the time-consuming task of keeping every device across the IoT system up to date with the latest security updates as well as feature updates. Device Update for IoT Hub provides the tools so that customers can scale their solutions based on their business needs. It is a widely compatible platform that can be integrated on top of virtually any existing solution. Device Update aims to minimize the time and the effort required to manage and distribute over-the-air updates. Let's look at some of the features that are provided with Device Update for IoT Hub. Device Update provides APIs for importing, distributing, and managing updates, so partners can choose to build their own custom experiences and portals on top of it. We also provide a seamless UX experience in Azure Portal integrated with IoT Hub. There's broad support for various IoT operating systems like Linux and Azure RTOS, as well as various IoT platforms like Azure IoT Edge and Azure Percept. All of our agents are completely open source, so they can be extended to any configuration that you have running in your IoT ecosystem. A unique offering of device update is the Microsoft Connected Cache solution, which is inbuilt, that enables updates for cloud disconnected devices that are downstream of an edge gateway, as well as in complex nested topologies. And lastly, device update provides robust management and reporting tools that help customers informed and in control of the update process. Now let's take a look at how you can get started with the device update for IoT Hub. You can provision the device update resource from Azure Marketplace on a new or existing Azure subscription. You can provide access to different users or groups within your organization to the platform and easily connect your existing or new IoT Hub to your device update instance. Next, you can install and provision the device update agent on one or more IoT devices in your ecosystem. You can then use IoT Hub tags to group these devices so that you can gradually deploy your updates. For example, you may group devices separately based on whether they're test or production devices, or you may group them based on the regions that they're deployed to. Next, you can import an update to your device update instance and then schedule a deployment to the group of devices that you created earlier. You can then monitor the status to discover which of your devices are in compliance and on the latest update, and which devices are not and why. So in conclusion, device update for IoT Hub has a lot to offer, no matter what your role is in the IoT ecosystem, whether you're a device builder, a solution integrator, or a solution operator. Whether you're managing updates for a client, for yourself, or want to build this capability into your products, device update for IoT Hub helps provide a secure, flexible platform that can be easily integrated on top of virtually any platform. You can click the links here to get started with public preview today. Thanks for listening. I would like to hand off to my colleague Sandeep to talk about IoT Plug and Play. Meanwhile, as Pamela noted, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat.
Thank you, Vidhi. So thank you for sharing those fantastic features on updates, IoT updates. I'm going to talk about IoT Plug and Play, which is much more sort of core in terms of how do we simplify building IoT applications itself. Can you go to the next slide, please? I'll sort of talk about multiple sort of stages in the overall in the IoT solution development itself. Let's starting with the actual challenges in today's IoT sort of solution development, right? So one of the core issues when it comes to building IoT solutions today is there is a very strong coupling between the IoT devices and solutions themselves, meaning all the devices that are built are custom and they're built custom to the solutions. So the data processing that happens related to those devices in the cloud is custom. So that's one of the core challenges on making a lot of these solutions and components reusable. It also means that now there needs to be a very tight coordination between both the device developers and the solution developers, basically leading to long and expensive development timelines. So this strong coupling is one of the core issues that kind of slows the overall development and deployment for IoT solutions. Next slide, please. So how do we actually solve this, right? Again, how do we kind of decouple this so that we can enable solution developers to develop independently and the device developers also develop independently and make this entire ecosystem sort of work together in a much more a sort of an independent fashion, and also make sure that devices that you build are interoperable across solutions, right? So what we have is what's called an open modeling language called DTDL. So you basically can define the capabilities of the device as part of that language, and device developers can do these independently. And solution developers can just use the devices once they are defined on those languages and build their experiences on top, right? So what that means is now you have decoupled both the solution development and the device development, making the overall solution development or the overall IoT sort of a solution development much more easier. It's just doesn't stop there. I think it's just not the language that we provide. We also provide seamless and out-of-the-box integration with a lot of Azure services, meaning you start with building your devices that are plug-and-play compliant. You go through the certification. You certify those devices, and along the way, you also sort of have platforms like IoT Central, where these solutions just work out of the box. And even when you start developing these, you kind of have the SDK support that Azure IoT provides. So it's just not the language; it's the entire ecosystem that we bring together, right? And finally, the devices that you build are now available for a much larger partner ecosystem, sort of for, especially on the solutions developer side, to basically use them right out of the box. Next slide, please. So to kind of double click on the out of the box support from Azure, right? These are the top three that we want to call out. Again, the two that I would like to emphasize is the first one is the IoT Central support, where if you have an Azure IoT plug-and-play certified device, now they seamlessly work with IoT Central. Meaning, if you have a device that is completely certified by IoT Plug and Play, you pair that with IoT Central, which is again a SaaS-based application platform. You don't have to write a single line of code, and you get an end-to-end application good to go and ready to use, right? And the last one I'll call out is the Plug and Play Bridge, which is essentially sort of a way to onboard your existing devices, make them plug and play compliant, using a sort of a open source sort of a library we have for plug and play. So that is the Plug and Play Bridge part of it. Finally, quickly, I'll cover the benefits and we'll get into Q&A. Again, if you want to sort of break it into three personas and how each of those will benefit, if you're a device builder, you could get your devices certified with IoT Plug and Play, and then make them readily available in device catalog and make them available for a wide range of partners and solution developers to use. If you're a solution developer, now you have the option to pick these devices off the shelf and then use with solution platforms like IoT Central. Or if you have an existing solution, then you can make that solution plug and play ready. So again, what that brings is it basically reduces the overall solution development time for you. And if you're an end customer, it basically means faster time to market, right? Again, that and also easy to maintain now that you have devices that are easily replaceable. And finally, there's more predictability in the overall solution development for you. So those are sort of the top benefits for each of those areas. Next slide, please. And finally, where do you get started? If you are a device developer, you start with certifying your devices. If you are a solution developer, you can start with the Azure Certified Device Catalog, pick your devices and work with Central and build a solution and good to go there. If you're, as I said, if you have an existing solution, then there is guidance for you to go and make your solution plug and play ready. Then there is a program for solution integrators and so on and so forth. So that kind of concludes the summary of plug and play, and now we are open for questions again. Back to you, Pamela.
Thank you, Sandeep and Vidi. So we already have some questions in chat. So I think the first question will be about device update for IoT Hub. And that's really covering what is the different platforms and devices that are supported. So the main question is, does the device update for IoT Hub or for IoT Hub service support devices like Yocto that's built on Linux? Is there support for headed devices? Could you deep dive a little bit more, Vidi, about what devices are supported? Is Yocto supported? And help answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. So with device update for IoT Hub, we provide some out-of-the-box agents for Yocto, for Ubuntu Server 1804, and we are supported on Azure RTOS, on Linux, and we also support different platforms like Azure IoT Edge and Azure Percept. That being said, all of our agents are completely open source. So if the out-of-the-box agents that are provided do not meet your needs in terms of the configurations that you are looking for in your IoT ecosystem, you can easily modify the agent and build it for the exact configuration that you are running in your ecosystem.
Okay, wonderful. And then next question relating to device update for IoT Hub is, what are the granular access roles that are supported through device update? So what type of role types do you have?
That's a really good question. So device update for IoT Hub uses Azure RBAC or role-based access controls for providing access to different resources. We have different granular roles, administrator, reader, and writer based on the different operations that you carry out within device update. You can choose to give someone read permissions only to the imported updates, or write permissions to the deployment step, or you can choose to make somebody an administrator for the entire device update resource.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for covering those questions. I have a couple more for you. One is, how about the campaign management or updating devices in large base and some filter criteria, meaning like location, version, etc. Does the device update service provide these features?
So today, the way you can achieve this in the device update service is by grouping your devices based on how you want to update them. If you have devices in your Europe office that you want to update at once, you can all tag them using IoT Hub tags that specify that particular value. So when you're deploying an update, you can deploy and target it only to that set of devices.
Okay, wonderful. And then I got one other question for you that came in is, how many accounts will you support with one subscription when it comes to device update for IoT Hub?
So during public preview, we will be supporting 2 accounts per subscription and 2 instances per account. During our GA release, we plan to increase this limit further.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think we'll give you a break. Yeah. Hand over to Sandeep to talk about plug and play and some of the questions that we've had in past Ask the Expert sessions, because we had one for the last Ignite, was a little bit more information about how you can connect your existing devices to plug and play. And then could we dig a little bit about IoT plug and play bridge, because that's something that continues to be shared with the community, and folks want to hear a little bit more about the IoT plug and play bridge.
Yeah, sure. I think we have Ugan on the call. I think we can get him to get some of those specific details from on IoT Bridge. Ugan, do you want to take that one?
Yep. So the IoT Plug and Play Bridge is like an open source application that we've created to basically enable a lot of existing brownfield devices to connect to IoT Plug and Play. A lot of these devices haven't been updated, and they won't be updated to support the new Azure IoT SDKs. So what we've done is any devices that are connected to through existing protocols like Modbus or Bluetooth or Serial to a Windows or Linux gateway can actually leverage the Plug and Play Bridge by simply running it on that gateway and connecting that device downstream. And then the Plug and Play Bridge does the magic to translate those messages into IoT Plug and Play compliant messages.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll link resources in chat right now. So if you're interested in the IoT Plug and Play Bridge, there's a deep dive blog post and we'll link to those resources now. And to continue with the Plug and Play questions, one of the questions we had is, does it support our IoT Edge runtime? So if you have gateway devices or any of devices supporting the IoT Edge and has the runtime deployed on it, does Plug and Play support it?
Yeah, there is support for components, specifically on for edge modules, especially. So that is the current support for it. Again, Nishita and Stefan, do you want to take that one specifically? Add any more context?
Yeah, you basically covered it, Sandeep. Yeah, edge modules on IoT Edge can be PnP enabled or plug and play enabled, and will act like a plug and play device. That is correct.
Okay, wonderful. And since we have some time in the Ask the Expert session, Sandeep, do you want to do that 2 to 3 minute demo of IoT Plug and Play? Because I think a lot of us would love to see that in action. Sure,
I could go ahead and do that quickly. Let me share my screen. So what you will see is a quick after of when you've used Plug and Play, meaning this is a flow for a solution developer who would come to Azure IoT device catalog, look for a ready-to-use device or search for one, and then he or she can basically put the configurations on the device, turn it on, and then connect it to IoT Central, right? So again, the promise of no code or low code, both on the device and cloud, is what we'll quickly see here. So here, this is the device catalog of all certified devices. I'm just going to go search for a specific device that I happen to have on my desk here. So I'm going to search for a WIOS C terminal device. So this is the device I have. So it's a gyroscope. So let's say if somebody searches for a gyroscope and wants to create a device, create an application or a solution with it. So she would basically come and look at the catalog here. And these are the details for the device itself, right? Again, this is as straightforward as looking at a device, looking at the details for the device, and then everything around it, right? What are the capabilities of the device? The key thing that I would like to highlight here is this device model. I think I briefly mentioned in my earlier discussion where device developers define what the capabilities of the device are as part of a model, and this is the core of Plug and Play. This is where devices define themselves as what their capabilities are, and then this is what is used as an interface for solution developers to build experiences, right? So this is what the model looks like, right? So what I'll quickly show you here is I have an IoT Central application. This is a brand new application. I don't have anything connected here. I have a device on my desktop here. I'm not sure if you can see my screen. I have on my video. Just look at my video. I have a small wire terminal. I'm just going to turn it on. I've already sort of put the credentials on this device to connect to this application. I'm just going to turn it on, and it's basically now booting up and connecting to IoT Central because I already sort of put in the credentials for this, right? Again, while it boots up, you're looking at IoT Central here, which is a SaaS application, which has got where you just have to sort of instantiate an application, and then you get all the capabilities of device management, visualization, and everything out of the box. So the device just showed up here. All right, it just shows as an updates available here. I'm just going to refresh it. So you saw this device show up, right? So what just now happened is the device connected to IoT Central. IoT Central went in and given this was a certified device, we pulled the right model. This is the model that the device came in with. We pulled the right model from the global repository for these certified devices, and now the solution knows what this device is capable of. it's got it's a gyroscope with the 3 coordinates here, and it's got a command for a ring buzzer, right? So all of this now IoT Central automatically understood. You go back to the experience here, you click on the device, right? And then you kind of get a default experience already up and running. So all I did was put the right credentials on the device, and you got an end-to-end device, end-to-end solution running within a matter of minutes, right? So that is the magic of plug and play, where I did not have to write a single line of code on the device because I got the certified device from the catalog. I did not have to write a single line of code on my solution here because IoT Central provides out-of-the-box capabilities for plug-and-play devices. But if you look at the visualization, I mean, you can kind of go on, right? You can build rules for that specific device. You can do all sorts of visualization and do device management and all sorts of more complicated scenarios here. And all of that comes out of the box for you. So again, that's a short demo where I was able to connect the device and then quickly show you an end-to-end. Back to you, Pamela.
Love it. That was a great demo, Sandeep. It was great to see that full end-to-end experience of IoT plug and play. And so it looks like we have time for 1 to 2 more questions. So I'll hand it over to Vidi to ask, what are the types of updates that device update supports?
Yeah, definitely. So with device update for IoT Hub, we support 2 forms of updating. You can either choose to do a full image update with an A/B model where you swap out the entire image, including all the components on your device with an update, or you can choose to do more granular updates that are targeting certain applications or processes on your device through a package-based update. There we support both models, and we empower customers to choose whatever works best for them, whether they have preference over bandwidth consumptions and agility, or whether it's resiliency. They might choose to go with different modes of updating.
Okay, wonderful. And then one last question, what regions is device updated supported in? And then what is the cost to sign up?
Yeah, sure. So right now in public preview, we are available in West US, North Europe, and Southeast Asia. However, this does not require you to be physically present in those regions when you're creating your device update account, nor does it limit the region where your IoT Hub is created. We recommend that you choose a region that is closest to you in terms of where you're present physically. And in terms of pricing, currently the device update capabilities available at no cost to all customers.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I really appreciate both of you answering all the questions. I think we covered every question in chat, so it was great that we were able to cover all of them. To end, since we have 2 minutes left, I'd love to cover, how folks can get started. We provided some links in chat, but I would love to hand it over to you, Vidi, for folks. Where should folks go if they want to join that public preview for device update for IoT Hub?
Yeah, sure. So you can go to AKM's IoT Hub Device Update blog or IoT Hub Device Update docs to learn more about the service and what is present. And the device update for IoT Hub resource should be available in your Azure Marketplace for you to start playing around with today.
Okay, wonderful. And both of those links are in the chat, and we'll put it on the screen as well. And then Sandeep, if folks want to get started with IoT Plug and Play, where's the best place for them to go to learn more?
Sure. So we have documentation on Azure IoT's documentation page. If you are a device developer, I'd say get started with device certification to get your devices certified. If you're a solution developer, go try, like I did, browse the catalog and then try out devices with IoT Central. Or if you already have your solutions, if you already have a solution, then if you want to turn that into a plug and play compliant solution, there is guidance for that as well. Again, on the same deck here. So both of those are good starting points.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Fedi and Sandeep, for joining us today, and then all of you for joining us in the session, asking your questions. We're really excited for you to test out the device update for IoT Hub and IoT Plug and Play, and we hope all of you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.